So this happened to me today.
Oh no! Oh no! No, you didn't!
The ticket tastes as if it's been sitting alone in a bucket for a while.
So you guys remember a while ago I mentioned in a video that I had this legend Starscream and this legend Skywarp, and that I really liked them, but I didn't have Thundercracker, and if I had all three of them I would do a review of them. Hasbro Toy Shop had a sale, so I bit the bullet. So finally I have a modern trio of Seekers without having to spend $150. And I've been wanting to talk about these figures for a long time, not just because they're modern Seekers, but because the mold itself is so good. And if I was going to talk about one of them, I wanted to talk about all of them. Now, I will say this is excluding one version of this mold. They made an Acid Storm, but I just wanted the three main Seekers, so that's the last we'll hear of that. We'll go ahead and take a look at the jet mode. It's just a really cool jet mode. It's kind of a cross between the G1 F-15 and the new F-22 Raptor. You can see he's got these really broad wings and the F-22 style tail fins. But harkening back to the G1, he's got the dual thrusters hanging out the back and the super elongated G1 inspired cockpit with the vents running down the side. Obviously he's got these null rays that sling out from underneath the bottom. Underneath, obviously it's a lot of robot bits, but these Seekers and just this mold in general is one of the cleanest looking jet molds on the underside. He looks solid. He looks like just one big piece. It doesn't look like there's a bunch of kibble hanging down from underneath. It doesn't, stand out. It just looks good. All of them have a landing gear up front and two little landing nubs in the back, and that's about it for jet mode. Obviously, you can take the weapons off and just have a regular jet. But yeah, that's pretty much all that these guys do in terms of weapons. So now that we've talked about the actual mold itself, let's talk about the individual versions of the mold. Obviously, we'll start out with Starscream since he's the main guy. He's the first version of this mold, and he is all really nice, kind of a shiny gray. It's a very light gray plastic with this awesome metallic red and this really crisp, clean white detailing. He's got the very cartoony kind of light blue accenting him, two huge purple Decepticon symbols right there, and then some darker gray accent on his null rays. He's a very clean looking jet, very G1, and I really like the way he looks. Moving on to Thundercracker, he is a dark blue with the same shiny red and white on his wings, so there's some unity there. He's got silver alongside his cockpit, but all of them, by the way, have a shiny gold cockpit, which is awesome. But Thundercracker and Skywarp mark the second version of this mold, where they've replaced the nose cone, the tail fins, and the front of the foot with a rubbery plastic. So Starscream is all plastic, just all regular plastic, but then they've replaced the nose cone and some other bits with this rubbery plastic, which I guess is a way to prevent kids from hurting themselves. But it is noted that these black pieces on Thundercracker can get a little chalky, and they just don't look crisp and clean black like his null rays do. But for the most part, this jet mode is really stunning. The dark blue and the red and the white really jump out at you. Not to mention the black and silver just kind of help industrialize it a little bit. Moving on to Skywarp, he is a lot of the same story. Very nice, sleek jet black. Instead of red detailing, we have purple and white, which also looks really, really good. Some silver detailing here on the side vents. The rubbery bits on him are purple, so they aren't as easy to notice being chalky. It's actually harder to pick them out as being rubber at all. But, you know, for the most part, he just looks really cool. They're super, super nice. Just the paintwork on these guys is simple. I've noticed it's simple but effective. And I think what I really like about all these guys is that they are so simple and so identical in terms of paint apps that it really solidifies them as a team, even though they all are different colors. So the Legend size class really is an advantage when it comes to the Seekers. Oh yeah, Starscream also came with this little guy, a teeny tiny waspinator that turned into the Wasp, a robot, and a gun. He wasn't really good in any of those modes, so I don't think anybody will mind if I do this.
Why people heard the waspinator?
Alright, I'll leave. I'm sorry. Now, since this is a Legend, transformation is super simple, and it's identical on all of them. So I'm just going to show you how to transform Starscream, and you can apply it to the other versions, because there's literally nothing different. You can take the null rays off, but you can also just leave them on, so there's no reason to do that. What you want to do first is you can fold the nose cone down and under, and then you kind of want to move the cockpit. You split it in half and bring this down, then the nose cone fully goes up underneath there. It was rubbing up against his head. Then you can bring the cockpit all the way down and it folds into that cavity. Then the arms are tabbed into the underside of the wings, so you want to kind of pull them off of those tabs. And then these joints rotate up and click into place right alongside his shoulders, or his collar actually. And then you split the legs, which untabs this whole back piece, which is on a double hinge, so it kind of comes up. And then this back double joint hinges up and clips into place. Then you take the tail fin, rotate it around behind the leg. And then the feet splay out in two different directions. The toe and then the heel splay out like that. So it really gives him a stable base to stand on. Then last thing you can do is rotate the null rays down alongside his arms where they should be properly. Stand him up, and there you've got a Seeker in robot mode. And here in robot mode, I think this is where this figure got sold to me in terms of, you know, my opinion of it and how much I like it. The robot mode on this figure is just so darn good. His proportions are awesome. The transformation is fun but simple. It's a great desk toy. You get to fiddle around with it. And come on, it's the Seekers. Let's just take a moment to admire the logic behind the Seekers. Somebody way back when, in the 80s, thought, hey, let's make 3 of the same character, paint them different colors, and give them different names, but make them all one unit. So now it's like common knowledge that Starscream, Skywarp, and Thundercracker are all separate characters, but they're the same mold. Somebody at Hasbro was thinking when they came up with that idea. What I really like about this mold is that it captures elements from a bunch of different eras of the Seekers and combines it into one mold. We've already talked about the jet mode and how it evokes both G1 and the movie verse in terms of it looks like the F-15 and the F-22 in one. But in robot mode, it goes even further. Not only does it look like G1, it also, the legs evoke the animated Starscream with the kind of bendy structure to them and the big detail bit on the shin and the pointy toe. Also, we've got some Fall of Cybertron in there with the squared off shoulders and the huge shaped vents on either side of their head. And then you also get G1 with the color schemes and just the personality of the character that comes through. So you've got a bunch of different eras of Seekers or Starscream or whatever. You got a bunch of different eras in one figure, and I think it just looks good. It references so much and does so much in such a tiny package, and I really, really, really like this Seeker mold. And they're super posable. So these guys are really, really posable. There's nothing at the head, obviously, because of the way the transformation joint works, but they have a ball joint with a cutout to the side, a full ball joint on the elbow. The null ray, obviously, is articulated back and forth. You get a ball joint with a cutout to the side at the hip, a very nice 90-degree knee bend, and the toes, even, for transformation, are articulated a little bit. So you can have him kind of like pointing his toe or whatever. But yeah, these guys are super posable, and you can get them in a lot of really awesome poses. So as you can see, these guys do just about everything you could want out of a modern Seeker Legends class figure. Not to mention, they go really well with this Legends class Shockwave, and I've already done a review of him, but he is darn good, and he works super well with these guys. He fits right in aesthetically, or they fit in with him, rather, and they look like an awesome team of little Decepticons, and it makes me want more little Decepticons for Combiner Wars. Because let's face it, we're not going to get any deluxe Decepticons from the Combiner Wars line. So overall, I rate this Seeker mold as excellent. It's a great little Legends figure, and when the Starscream first came out, I thought it was good. I didn't even know that they were going to continue to make more of them. I mean, I guess you could have predicted it. But I'm glad they did, because it gives such a nice alternative to the really expensive leader class Seekers that are out right now. For those of you that don't want to break the bank, this is an awesome little set of Seekers, and Starscream may be hard to find, but Skywarp is still in stores, and Thundercracker can be found if you look hard enough. So if you're looking for a really nice set of modernized Seekers that look good, that play well, that are nice fun little desk toys, I think these guys are your best bet. So I recommend these hands down. This is one of my favorite Legends class figures of all time, and they're awesome. So thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you later.